To law and crime. I got to cleanse my brain a little bit from the fog of that former expert. So we have some new person on the stand here. This looks like a state trooper. Yes, just because that's what a state trooper looks like. This is Joseph Paul. Interesting to see what he has to add to the mix here as we continue to learn about this Karen Reed case and the death of the trooper, her boyfriend. Let's go into court now for this new witness.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Trooper Joe Paul, that's P-A-U-L.
And how are you employed, sir?
I am currently employed with the Massachusetts State Police.
And how long have you been a trooper with the state police?
I have been a trooper for approximately 8.5 years.
And
12.5 years. I apologize.
And where is it that you're currently assigned within the state police?
I am currently assigned to our collision analysis and reconstruction section, otherwise known as CARS, our recon.
And how long have you had that assignment to the reconstruction of the cars?
That one's for about 8.5 years.
And with respect to your assignment to that unit, prior to beginning with that unit, let me ask you this first. As far as the cars unit is concerned, about how is that sort of divided up as far as is there certain regions that you would specifically cover?
Correct. We have four separate regions across the states. We have Southeast, the Northeast, Central, and the Western.
And which of those are you assigned to?
I am assigned to the Southeast.
And geographically, how much territory are we talking about that the Southeast covers?
Anywhere from Boston down to the Cape, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, anywhere southeastern part of Massachusetts.
And currently, how many troopers are assigned to this specialized reconstruction within your Southeast region?
Within our Southeast region, we have, I believe we have 9 now.
And is there some kind of on-call system that your unit operates by?
Yes.
Can you describe that to the jury?
So we rotate. We rotate every day. Our on-calls are for 24 hours from 0700 to 0700 the next day.
Now, with respect to yourself, prior to you entering into the CARS unit, what, if any, specialized training do you undergo in regard to crash reconstruction?
So when I before I got into the unit, I was sent to 3 separate classes. Each class was 40 hours long. So the first class is basic at-scene crash investigation. Next one's advanced crash investigation, and the other one's traffic crash reconstruction.
And with each of these trainings that you underwent prior to being assigned to the CARS unit, and some more that we'll talk about in a moment, with respect to each of the trainings that you've been a part of or undergone, is there some sort of certification that you receive in regard to a successful completion of those trainings?
Yes, each one has its own certification.
Now, with respect to, since you've been working with the CARS unit over the last several years, what, if any, additional specialized training have you received in the area of crash reconstruction?
Since I've been on, I've been into probably about 877 hours of education in the units. That's anything from bicycle crash investigation, human factors. I'm currently certified through Burlap examiner and a technician. I am a CDR analyst and a CDR technician trainer. Just recently I attended multiple seminars, and most recently I attended a seminar in Houston on EDR data retrieval.
Now, among those other trainings that you received, some of those trainings pertain specifically to pedestrian crashes?
Correct.
And in addition to the training that you received through the state police, what, if any, professional organizations do you belong to in regard to crash reconstruction?
Yes. I am currently part of NAPARS, which is the National Professional Accident Reconstruction Section, and I'm also certified through ACTAR, which is the Accreditation Commission for Traffic Accident Reconstruction.
Now, if I can focus specifically just for a moment on the ACTAR certification, can you explain to the jury sort of what goes into that, and as far as that certification is concerned, how does one obtain?
Okay, so first thing you do is you got to submit an application to ACTAR to be allowed to take the test. And part of the, you got to tell them that how much education you've had, how many crashes you investigated, basically anything within the crash investigation world. And then once they find that you're accepted to take the test, then you got to set a time for the test. We did it as a section throughout our state, and the test is a 2-part test. It's a practical and theory portion of the test. Each part's 4 hours long, and you got to pass both portions to be certified through ACTAR.
So there's a written exam and a practical portion of the test as well?
Correct.
And can you explain to the jury sort of the practical portion? What does that consist of?
The practical portions is you basically have to analyze a collision. So they give you a simulated crash, and you have to go through and document the evidence. You have to answer a series of questions based on that specific crash. So where you find the speeds, the distances, times, and everything else related to that collision.
And you successfully completed and received that certification, sir, is that correct?
That's correct.
And how long ago was it that you first received your ACTAR certification?
In 2019.
And how long is that certification? Is that sort of in perpetuity, or is there a sort of continuing educational component attached to it?
There is a continuing educational component attached to it. The test is, it's certified for 5 years, and within those 5 years, you still have to maintain a certain amount of education to reapply for ACTAR again.
And with respect to that ACTAR examination, are you familiar with sort of the success rate or the passing rates when it comes to that examination?
Correct.
And what is it?
It's fairly low. I can tell you within my unit at the time I took it, there were probably 20-something of us that took it, and only 3 of us passed it at the time. Yeah, it's not a very high pass rate.
Now, over the course, let me ask you this. When you first sort of enter into the CARS units, are you just sort of, you go through the training and then you are on call and get sent out on the road by yourself, or how does that work?
No, you first get initially assigned to a field training officer, and then at that point you shadow the field training officer to various crashes.
And is there any sort of set time period for how long that shadowing process goes on for?
It's not really a set time. It's more based on experience, on how many crashes you go to and how much experience you have in the field. And then they basically, well, if they feel like if you're deemed qualified, then they'll send you on the road on your own.
And over the course of your years within the CARS or the Reconstruction unit, approximately how many crashes have you responded to and investigated?
As of now, I've been to approximately 196 crashes, and I've probably assisted another 100, 150 crashes.
And of those, of all those crashes that you've responded to, investigated, if you know, percentage-wise or number-wise, approximately how many of those have been crashes involving pedestrians?
I know I've been to approximately 55 pedestrian crashes, and I've assisted others on pedestrian crashes also. So, I mean, 55 out of 196.
Now, with respect, if I could, turn your attention to January 29th, 2022.
Okay, so a lot of crash experience, and we're about to find out how that exactly ties into this case. I'm going to ask, before we get to that, though, Sonny Slaughter is here, law enforcement instructor, Katherine Lizardo as well. Sonny, what do you make of what this guy does, and how's it going to apply to this case to help this jury figure it out?
Well, first he's explaining his background, his education, and his certifications. And I think it's going to be important because he will be able to explain what he saw and what he observed and collected in data as it relates to what happened with the car and how this could have potentially happened. I think law enforcement training and the type of that he is talking about is very extensive. A lot of times people hear, law enforcement training, but it is different to go through training and get a certification. He's also an FTO, what we call a field training officer. He also has an FTO when he started out. So the level and the skill that he brings to the table is necessary in order for the prosecution to put together their explanation as to what happened to John O'Keefe related to Karen Reed's running over him, backing over to him. So he might not get to those details specifically, but he can talk about what it looks like from the scene, what could have potentially happened, and how that rolls out.
Yeah, this ain't your fender bender on I-95. I mean, this is just a weird collision. So I can't wait to see what he has to say about the details of this particular case. Stay where you are, everybody. We'll be back taking a break. This is Law and Crime.